What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Italian Football TV podcast. We've got Peter back with us.
Back in action.
Finally. Peter. And across from us, of course, we got Mike, but forget about Mike. More importantly, we've got Mario Di Marco.
How are you guys?
From Super Soccer Agency, your business partner.
That's right.
We got both business partners on each side.
He's a business partner?
Yeah. I prefer him. Then you want to take Mike for a couple days? I can keep Mario.
There we go.
You see?
He uses, look at his hair. What kind of gel does he use?
What do you use in your hair?
My wife buys everything for me.
Come on. You can't release it?
I really don't know.
Well, I have to
even
say,
looked
as far
at
as partners, they both have great head of hair.
That's true. It's better than ours.
I noticed right away.
He knows exactly what he puts
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
He knows exactly. No soybean oil, all that BS, none of that. Right?
I honestly cannot remember the name of the wax. I cannot. It's Japanese.
There we
Japanese.
go. He doesn't want to give us enough. But we've got you on and we've got Peter on because obviously Bologna has been the story of the season. The fact that they're officially in Champions League. Thiago Motta announced for us yesterday that he's going to be leaving the club. And while Thiago Motta has been a crucial part to the piece of the puzzle from Bologna, there's also a guy behind the scenes that doesn't get as much praise. Also because he kind of likes to be hidden in the shadows and build without being seen. And you guys both, you know him personally. I don't know if I could say that.
Sure,
it's fine that you guys know him personally. And you know his backstory a lot better. So I think it would be good if we take the time to talk about what he's done and also who could be the next coach for Bologna. Because he's got a project that you're seeing how Atalanta's flourishing now, just won the Europa League. Can he do the same thing for Bologna?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, the guy we're talking about is obviously Sartori, right? Il Dottore, as we call him.
Why is he the Dottore?
I'll let Mario explain.
He prescribes the medicine.
So I call him Dottore. So he's asked me before, why do you call me Dottore? In Italian, Dottore is more a reflection, I guess, of respect. To me, it's the highest degree of knowledge in a certain sector, field.
So I would never call Mike that.
So not doctorate. It's not again like
it's
Chiellini.
a doctorate. So if I
But
told
it's like Chiellini as actually
a doctorate in something, to me, if there was ever a doctorate in sports management, like it would be under his name. So that's how I explained it to him. And then I gave him another analogy. And he's like, no, I prefer that one.
So how did you guys get connected with Sartori? All right, we interrupt this podcast because if you are watching right now, our jerseys that have taken almost over a year to make are finally on sale. ItalianFootballTV.com. People have been asking for them for months.
Oh, yeah.
We've been teasing them. Mike is showing off the box that it'll come in.
Marco, this is like not even a Christmas. This is better than a Christmas gift right here.
It is better than
You got to give it to someone you really like.
It's a Euro gift. We won the Euros last year. How many people can say they experienced their team winning
the weight of that.
the Euros last season? We're the reigning champions. The box says Calcio's art, and then as you unbox it, it just gets, well, there's flags in this one.
They don't come with the flags, but we also have them on our site, so you can pick them up.
That's true. I'm wearing the shirt that comes in this box. I didn't realize that was happening. But yes, please, guys, go and support. We want to continue creating high quality products just like this one. They take us a long time, a lot of effort. We even flew all the way to Florence because there's so much Florence inspiration on these shirts. We flew there. We had locals endorse them and wear them just as they were going about their daily lives
And the
their
mayor.
jobs.
The mayor
The
Mayor Flores love that.
I don't know how he convinced him to take a picture with it, but he's like, oh, yeah, this is pretty cool.
Like,
Let me do
feel
it.
this material. I was like, yeah, I'll put this on right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So, guys, ItalianFootballTV.com. Go shop there. We have jackets that we're working on right now that we can show you a little teaser since you're watching this video right now. But the jerseys are our priority. June 7th, they've been released. Go on, buy yourself a jersey. Get one for somebody that you love as well.
Your
That's
dog,
right.
your goldfish.
I would never buy you anything, but if I liked you, I would buy you this.
I mean, they're great quality, the material, the presentation. If you give this to someone, if you unwrap this and you see this, what are you going to think about that person?
I would cry.
I'd be like, that's a good friend.
That's a good friend.
I'd be thinking about that person.
I wouldn't think that about you, but I would think that if somebody that I like.
Exactly.
Agreed.
There we go. That's all
Guys,
that matters.
Go get your jersey, ItalianFootballTV.com. And now let's go back to the show.
So when we started our business in the sports agency world, he was actually the first sporting director in Italy to open his doors to us. So he was still at Atalanta at the time. I believe it was 2019.
So already had big success.
Yeah, he was basically midway through a group where he had 0 points at that point with Atalanta in their first experience in the Champions
But
League.
still getting into Champions
yeah.
League
No, he
was
did it
massive.
right.
Yeah, he
He
was
did
doing
it right.
very well. And so we were planning a trip to Italy. We reached out to a bunch of sporting directors, and he was actually the first to answer us and the first to invite us over. We had no players at that point. So that's also a reflection of his humility. Because, you look at someone you don't know, you open the door right away. So we got off. We went to Malpensa, and we got into the car. He only had like an hour. So he was like, can you be here before this time? So Peter got in the car. We raced to Bergamo, Zingonia. And, we had our passes ready for us. So he showed us the facility. And then, we sat down, introduced ourselves. He's, spoke a bit about himself. We did the same. And just a very humble and open-minded guy. And I think what you see on the field right now is just his work just coming to fruition. And he's done it not once, not twice, but 3 times. And it was never in doubt for us. Because when he left Atalanta, we were very surprised. We thought that he was going to go to a top, and all due respect to Bologna, right? At
But
that
it's
time,
not like...
it wasn't a top club. So we thought he was definitely going to a top club. Maldini has just taken over at Milan, so we thought maybe he would, work with him in Milan or go to Juve or go to Inter or top 4, top 5. But he went to Bologna, and we were so surprised. And then he explained why he went. And I'm not sure if you guys remember.
No, I don't know.
His press conference. So
His father.
he started crying.
Yes, that I
He got
remember.
very emotional at his press
Yes.
conference because he explained how when he was a little boy, his father was a big fan of Bologna. He would bring him to the games, and for him it was just he was just so proud of getting to that point for Bologna and for his dad. And the fact that now he's brought it to that level is just amazing.
My mom texted me because I brought up Sartori the other day, and my mom doesn't really follow, but like she'll follow like podcasts or whatever it's said, and she's like, "Oh, that's my grandmother's maiden name." So I was trying to track down in case I was related to him in any way.
This guy's trying to get a finder's fee on some of the players over here. This guy.
But as far as I know, as far as my uncle knows, we're not
relation.
No
But it's
relation. But I
Lombardia.
could say it.
It's Lombardia.
Yeah, it's Lombardia. I know. I was looking in case there was
Lodi.
Piacenza or anything like that. Before, I think you're best to describe what he did in his past, like everything that he's built up from his career. But I think it's so on topic right now because Sarri gave a couple quotes. I don't know if you guys saw, but he spoke about Italian football and how Italian coaches are the best coaches that we have and the sporting directors. And we've always said sporting directors are the real keys to Italian football. It's the only way we remain competitive because from a revenue perspective, a financial perspective, we can't compete. If we have 20 million, we got to make it work like 100 million for some other clubs. We have to be very smart. And you even see guys like Maldini. Look how much he was criticized for getting Charles de Catalare because they spent huge money where it's 35 million.
Nothing.
We see teams that they spend 100 million on Anthony, 100 million on a guy, and nobody really gets fired for some of these decisions. Bring us up to date on everything Sartori's done before Bologna.
Well, I would start with Chievo. That was the real, I think, special project of Sartori and his path with that team. I mean, there's a historic saying, well, historic in quotation marks, but the fact that Chievo, they used to say, when Chievo goes up to Serie A, that's when the donkeys will fly, right? And they got their nickname for the flying donkeys. So, Chievo is a very small frazione of Verona, and they were able to, at that time, beat out the historic Hellas Verona, who won a Scudetto back in the 80s. So, that's Verona's team is Hellas Verona. Mm-hmm. And Chievo, I would say maybe it's similar to what Sassuolo have done in recent years for like a lot of the younger, fans and followers of IFTV, just showing where it's a small little fraction of a city, and we're able to do so well. The only difference is Chievo made it into Europe. So,
Difference compared to what?
Sassuolo.
Oh.
As far as going into Europe, Chievo made it into a Europa League.
Champions League qualification.
Champions League qualification.
Yeah. Okay.
So, that's a whole nother level of, doing well within.
And he got there in Serie C, if I'm not wrong.
So
right?
he actually played for Chievo.
Okay.
He played for Chievo for a couple of years, and he retired in '84. So he became a scout / administrator for them. And then in '92, I believe, he became the sporting director. So he was there for 10 years.
But what division were they in? It was Serie C, right?
Serie C Due.
Serie C Due.
So fourth division.
Fourth division. And then he was the guy that
He built it up.
helped
So he
bring
actually
them
found
the Champions League
Wow.
qualification.
Malesani.
Okay.
He brought Malesani to Chievo in '93,
Okay.
before Malesani became Malesani.
And then his next step was Atalanta.
Yeah.
Next step was Atalanta,
2014.
which I was just watching a documentary. There's a good one on YouTube that I got up to date on, and you hear the conversations around Atalanta fans, and it's always been, please let's not get relegated this year if you're in Serie A, and if you're in Serie B, please can we just get promoted? That's what Percassi says when he bought the team in 2010 for 14 million euros. There was the mayor of Bergamo was on there, and he's like, I can't believe we're winning the Europa League now, where I used to start seasons and say to myself, let's just stay here. I'll be happy about that. And it was funny because they also talked about how young fans, like 8-year-old fans and younger, they only remember Atalanta like qualifying for Champions League and Europe.
Yeah.
So it's funny that blend, but he was the guy that came in and helped make that even possible.
Yeah, so there was, I forgot the name of the owner prior, but when Percassi then bought Atalanta in 2010, waited a couple of years. That was the situation, up and down, up and down. He brought Sartori in 2014, and he left when, 2021. So he was there, around 8 years, and he just built this thing up. And they had their ups and downs, but this is all, what just happened the other day. Started in 2014 with Sartori. And go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, how much of a difference do you think this is gonna make for Atalanta going forward since Sartori moved?
It's
down?
Tony D'Amico now, right?
Tony D'Amico.
Like, do you guys,
which is,
you guys have a different brain than we do in terms of the
Maybe
back
you.
end, the back end of this. But you guys could pick out in terms of the transfers and all that stuff. But how do you see Atalanta's projection with and without him?
I think it hasn't changed. I think it's only, probably increased because Tony D'Amico was the best guy. When Sartori left, they were pragmatic in choosing the next one. And Tony D'Amico at that point had 4 years with Hellas Verona. And with the lowest budget in Serie A, he was on the left side of the standings. He got 9th, 10th, I believe in 9th again. So he was obviously able to do a lot with a very small budget. And they brought in the right guy. And again, this is just a continuation. And he's probably even character-wise, he's aligned with what Sartori started. So
you think they're on the same? They're similar kinds of direttori sportivo.
Yeah.
But would you put anyone higher, or just because maybe Sartori was proven at different clubs, or not take away credit from D'Amico since he's continuing this?
No, I think it's just you could definitely give credit to both. I think one started and one finished it.
I would put Sartori higher just because of what he has been able to do.
I'm just talking in
that
relation to
time,
the
yeah,
Atalanta situation,
relation
not
to
in
Atalanta,
general.
I mean, listen, I know obviously we said like who's the guy in Bologna, but that's the beauty of football. If you have just your star player, that's not going to equate for the other 10 players that are on your team and then on your bench. So, when it comes down to even Atalanta, you're talking about an ownership group, right? Percassi, who, understands what it is to create a serious business, okay? And in serious business, you need to have competent people working for you, and you need to have, relationships from top to the bottom. And I think when you look at Atalanta and you look at Sartori, that was the perfect reality of him being able to work his magic because he was able to do so with a competent ownership group, giving him the trust, giving what is necessary in order to build out a serious project. And then even with that, it comes with getting the right coach, getting the right players, building out the youth.
Why doesn't Lazio? Like, what's Lazio been doing all these years that they don't?
You see Lotito the press conferences, bro?
I was asleep.
But don't they see this path? And because I never see youth players from Lazio ever get promoted to a first team.
It really comes down to concept, just concept and how if you're invested into the long term or just in the immediate results, and most likely, most often than not, I think if you're in the long term and you do things right, eventually everything will come to fruition. At a more consistent basis, compared to when you just try to do things in the now. And maybe you'll have that good year, but then you're going to have to start from scratch again the next.
So who's the next?
Exactly.
If we just kept Lazio as an example, who's the next Sartori for you guys? Who's the next direttore sportivo, sporting director in Italy that you're looking at and you're like, all right, this guy's gonna be the one that builds up a big team?
There's many. I mean, there's a lot of talented guys around. You could even look at current sporting directors.
Your top one. If I gave you Super has a team, you guys got a team. You could build it small, just like Atalanta and Bologna. Who would be the guy that
I'd give it to Giovanni Sartori, but if it wasn't him, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I would so for now, I'd probably give it to Tony D'Amico.
Really?
Yeah, I would give it to Tony D'Amico.
All right, you can't say Tony D'Amico.
Well, I mean, as far as
If I gotta-
the next up and coming,
Yeah.
that's the only thing. Because I would say Marotta for me
Yeah.
All right.
when you deal with but up and coming guys. I wasn't ready to answer that question, so
We'll give you time to think.
There's really a bunch of guys.
There's a
to
lot of
look
guys.
at.
Like there's
But
right now, there's for example, Juve has done a great job with their youth, the U23,
The next gen
and
project.
the next gen, and
Atalanta did it too.
Atalanta did it too. But the sporting director of the next gen is Claudio Chiellini,
Mm.
which is Giorgio Chiellini's brother. And Claudio, before he went, he was already at Juve before, but before he went to be a technical director of the next gen, he was a sporting director for Pisa.
Yeah, there we go. I remember
And
that.
2 years ago, he was about to go up. He lost only in extra time.
excuse me.
He lost in extra time against Monza. He was about to go up with one of the lowest budgets in Serie B.
Wow.
And then, yeah, he went back to Juve after a couple of years. But Claudio, I think, has a bright future. Tony D'Amico, even Morgan De Santis. Like, everyone's going nuts with Ederson, right? From Atalanta, the six that played the other day.
He's such a good
So
player.
who found that guy? Morgan De Santis found that guy.
Well, he went viral for the wrong reason, I think, especially in England. DeSantis.
I don't...
You remember
Morgan,
his
oh
press
yeah,
conference? You
sure.
remember that
But
press
he was
conference?
making a statement
Yeah,
because
yeah.
in effect they did kind of, I wouldn't say ruin the player, but they did kind of
They
come
messed with
in
Boulaye
and messed
Dia.
with him mentally to the point.
But even Morgan, we saw him afterwards.
Yeah.
Because we went to go see Fiorentina Salernitana, and he was still the sporting director at the time. And he said, and this is also a testament of a good sporting director. When you understand that you make a mistake or that you have to learn from something, he said that, obviously you become a meme maybe,
Yeah.
but the mistake is when a player wants to go, you let him go
You let him go.
because you're not going to have any satisfaction.
Marotta
by
always
keeping
said
somebody.
that.
Yeah.
I remember
So-
at Juventus, Marotta always said, you don't
Can't
keep a
force them.
player
Can't
that
force
doesn't
them.
want to be there.
And by the way, just to put in there, Morgan did have an offer from a Ligue 1 team during the season, and this also speaks to the level of integrity that he has. He saw what was happening with Salernitana. He could have left, and he has the capabilities to go to a Ligue 1 team and do well. This is a high-ranking team in Ligue 1.
PSG.
No, but it's like a top 5, top 4 team, and he didn't go, and he
Like,
stood there.
make four
And
more
then
guesses.
Marseille.
don't forget he left. He didn't. He wasn't fired from
Yeah,
Salernitana.
yeah.
He parted ways amicably. So.
I wonder why.
So I think he's another one. Parma has a bunch of good guys like scouting. So head scouts is another area where you could look.
Parma did incredible. They won Serie B by a landslide.
But they also spent a lot of money.
No,
for
they
years.
did 3 years ago though.
They-
So it's a
Yeah.
long term. So they went
Yeah.
down, but they have a,
But they have a good fountain, very good
Very
fountain.
good
They don't look
foundation.
shaky to go back down.
and that's
from
thanks
what it
to
seems
their
like.
head scout. So the head scout is Massimiliano Notari. So he was a scout for Juve, Milan, and AS Monaco, and now he's the head scout for Parma. He has a bright future. Like again, Claudio. You can think of any others like that are kind of coming up. I mean, there's just a bunch. Too many to name.
So now that Bologna is in this place where they're losing Thiago Motta, a lot of fans have freaked out. They'll probably lose Calafiori and Zirkzee, if we're just
At
honest.
least,
Ferguson, I think he stays because he's injured, and selling a player while he's injured, I don't think we see that happen very often. And besides that, I don't think that they're gonna lose that many guys. But who is the coach that you see that could take over for Bologna that fits with Sartori? And do you guys think that Bologna is going to be a team that it's going to be too much to handle? Like, yes, we're all super excited. You watch the Piazza and Bologna, they're celebrating 60 years, first time in Champions League. But is it actually going to hurt them in the long term? Or do you think that he's already got the plan to go forward?
Okay.
Well, listen, Sartori definitely has the plan. The fact that Thiago Motta is leaving now, this has already been in
Yeah,
the
this
works.
has been
he knows already.
months.
Well, Finucci said the other day that he was going to tie Thiago Motta to a chair and not let him go.
Yeah, but it's very hard. And the same conversation when a player wants to leave, when a coach has reached what he can reach, it's time that he moves on. I mean, listen, Thiago Motta, let's not forget, Spezia, right, were saved twice by two very, very good coaches, Italiano and Thiago Motta. To do it a second time, sometimes it's even harder.
So there's a
than the
pattern
first
there.
time. So, these are very qualified coaches. And I
Who's
think
Spezia's director?
And they only-
they were on.
Meluso.
Meluso,
Oh,
who
why?
was with Napoli and didn't have
they
the
Oh,
almost-
first time.
Meluso. Yeah. Juventus wanted him, right? I think Giuntoli's trying to bring him in.
Um,
Isn't that who he was trying to bring in?
No, so Meluso is an older
No,
No,
gentleman.
Meluso
He's in
went
the
to Napoli
60s.
afterwards.
Ah, okay.
And I
So
don't know
he's
if
trying to bring. Who's he trying to bring
The assistant, I forgot now.
from Spezia?
Yeah, when it.
But it's not Meluso.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you.
He's
guys were
got the
watching-
next coach.
If you guys were watching Spezia season, they were literally hovering above the relegation zone until the last couple of match days. So it was very difficult from what they were doing to stay in Serie A to almost going to Serie C. It's
No,
crazy
it's a
how
big
the
risk when
huge
because they
risk.
bought the team in Serie A, even though for a good price, and then
Yeah.
to drop down after 2 years of staying up.
Hmm.
That's just the reality of Italian football.
Yeah.
And you know, the Serie B is probably one of the toughest leagues because everybody is just as the same because it's not.
They're
There's
pretty
no
even.
real
Look at body.
overspend.
Yeah.
And
Body.
from
Almost going to
A
Serie
second
A
team
to almost going to
away
Serie
from-
C.
Well, that's why it's so
I
hard.
bring that every time I
When
have
you
Antonio.
make the
here.
playoffs, when you make the playoffs, so you're just right there and you like barely miss them, or
Doesn't really make a difference.
it's so like
It messes with you, right?
it does because
Kills you.
they all like again we were speaking about Pisa. They lost in extra time. The next year they came in 11th.
Yeah.
So it's just so hard to get promoted in Serie B. It's
Alright,
very
so-
underrated.
Who do you think should take over Bologna?
I think the names that have come out are the ones that are more adequate. So
Italiano.
Sarri or Italiano. One of those two I think would bring Bologna to that next level. Or if not the next level, maintain them at this level and play Champions League. Because Sarri obviously has a lot of experience in Europe. But Italiano fits that pattern that we just spoke about with Spezia, and he plays a very similar style to Thiago Motta.
More attacking.
Yeah.
Because he pushes guys
Yeah.
like much more forward. I think people forget that Thiago Motta, they got the second best defense
Yeah.
in Serie A. It's really it's a balance. It's a
I
more
think it
balanced
comes down to the
approach.
interpreters. I watched the
Yeah.
video the other day when they were talking about the defensive approach of Italiano, and if you look at the way he instructs them, I think it's mostly down to the interpreters of his play. So it's not in reality. I think it's not Italiano. It's mostly the players.
Yeah, he doesn't have the players.
Yeah.
I think we haven't seen the real team of Italiano because the players that Fiorentina have, what he's done to get them to 3 finals
Yeah, it's
in the last 2 years, for me,
Amazing.
borderline miracle.
And I just want to add to Mario that I think Sarri's a good shout because, first of all, he's won in Europe before. Second of all, I don't think he's a good coach for big players. He's better for lesser names because they listen to
He's
him. They
admitted
said,
it.
If you follow my kind of route, even though it's like the same repetitive kind of stuff, for the most part, they do well. And if they're all on board with him, I think he could do well. And at the end of the day, how far do we need Bologna to go in Europe? But regardless, Sarri does have the experience in winning Europa League with Chelsea. That's
Listen,
time,
he's
right?
done well. Even last year, Lazio got out of the group stage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he did do that. I mean,
Against Bayern
except
Munich,
for,
right?
Yeah,
In the same group.
yeah.
Yeah.
Except for
They almost knocked him out.
Yeah, that's right.
okay.
So, a while ago.
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
Yeah. So except for the facts of his management skills, he has he has his style, his way of playing, his way of
Exactly.
interpreting the game. His man management might not always be the best or what everybody talks about, but I mean Juventus, it was a difficult season and he won the Scudetto. Chelsea was a difficult season and he won silverware. What was it, Europa League?
Europa League.
So
yeah.
that already shows that he can do it both in Europe and then let's not forget. I mean, everybody wants to talk poorly about Sarri. Obviously when Antonio's here, he hates Sarri, but that Napoli team
Yeah.
was an unbelievable team.
Any
That
other
know how
year
they
they
lost the
won.
Scudetto.
Any other
One of the
year
best
they
I ever
would've won.
watched.
Yeah.
any other
Track the
year.
football.
And
Kind of like
listen,
Arsenal this year.
90
Arsenal
plus points. Okay.
Arsenal just missed
Yeah.
out against Man City.
90
Man
plus
City were
points.
just amazing. Juventus that season were just almost
I
untouchable.
mean,
So-
90 plus points missing out on the Scudetto.
Yeah.
That's
You
crazy.
can't expect to be
So
perfect.
someone coming in to a team where they already play a nice style of football, I think Sarri will give that same enjoyment to the Bologna fans. I think the difficulty obviously is that this last year was a miracle year, and I think other teams are going to get stronger. So the expectations
Everybody.
of Bologna is not to make Champions League, which I think fits or suits Sarri. You know, obviously we're talking about the two players that look like they're going to be on their way out, and the only difference that I see, going back to Sartori, is Atalanta maintained their top players. They kept everybody.
And that's a
They
condition.
really didn't lose anybody. Until
they made
until
sales.
Gasperini.
No, they did. I mean,
got rid of
they
some
made
guys.
sales.
Early
Their
on,
sales,
early on,
their
yeah.
Atalanta's sales were always, and this is also something that is, it's just curious. Atalanta, the sales that they made, were never players that were key contributors
Yeah.
to the team. They were always youth players, or youth players that kind of had maybe a couple of games with them on the first team.
Utility
Hoyland,
players.
So
Hoyland didn't
gave-
even have double-digit goals, and
so
he
he-
sold for
yeah.
what, 80 million.
Yeah, so Atalanta gave the illusion that these guys were key contributors to this project, and they were, like, their youth players coming up, developed by them. And apart from Hoyland, like Kulusevski, he never played for Atalanta.
Diallo from Manchester United.
Diallo never
Do you
played.
remember
any
when
sort of
Ryan
guy
asked
from-
us about Diallo?
And we're like, what? I was like,
Our
that guy-
buddy that's a Manchester United fan, he's like, "Oh, this Diallo is like the wonder kid in Serie A,"
They
and I was like,
spent
"I think he
two-
played 2 times
they
in the
spent
league."
So, like,
50.
I had to
40
look him
minutes
up.
he played
Man
the whole
United dropped
season.
50 for him.
But even the players that did play,
Yeah.
they were in positions where you can replace.
Yeah, you can replace
Gagliardini,
replaceable players,
Yeah.
100%.
Kessie,
Casey.
All their wing backs.
The wing back.
All the wing backs.
Conte.
You
Gosens.
forgot his
Andrea
name.
Conte had
Was amazing.
Milan bought him for what,
Yeah.
30, 28, and he scored like what, 8 goals that
Bastoni
year,
was
and
there,
he
right?
disappeared after.
Okay.
Bastoni was,
Even up to a
Bastoni,
certain point,
yeah.
Gosens that they sold
Yeah.
last minute, and good players. I'm not saying
Freuler.
that they're bad players. The only thing is, these are players that you can replace.
Let me
That's
cut-
why
yeah.
I was getting more to the point of a Xerxes. That style of a player, it's not
It's
easy to
different.
find.
It's different.
So
Fair,
Because he
fair,
was
fair.
discovered.
You kept Zapata, you kept Muriel in that
Ilicic,
Atalanta,
yeah.
and if it wasn't for Gasperini to get rid of certain players, Papu Gomez,
Yeah.
then you would have been able to manage to keep these guys as well.
Let me clarify that. So when I say key contributors and the young players, obviously they've sold big players to the naked eye, but when you look at it, like Peter said and clarified, they're replaceable players.
Yeah.
Because by the time they sell them, they already found 2 or 3
Exactly.
options that could already at a higher level.
So I'd assume Sartori also has that same sort of plan. I think they want a Greek guy. I sent you in the group the other day. I don't
From
think you
Pauk?
answered.
Is it from the guy from
Yeah.
Pauk?
Who?
There's a Greek guy that they want
see it.
as the next Xerxes. Who's on AZ? Alkmaar.
Oh, Pavlidis.
Oh,
Pavlidis.
that's right. That's a
he
center
good?
To be
forward.
honest, he's
No?
a top goal scorer of the Dutch league.
But he's not the starter in Greece.
But he does, first of all, he's like third choice for Greece.
Yeah, he doesn't play for
and
Greece.
He doesn't.
All right, if Mike doesn't hype up a Greek player, then the guy's
No,
not good.
The thing is that's
just a rumor.
That's
Dude,
why they're so
profile.
good. That's why they're so good in go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say the Dutch league. I used to give a lot of credit till
Yeah.
I actually started watching it. Their defense.
No, it's
Personally, I don't want to seem
No,
like
no,
a bad
it's
guy,
fine, it's fine.
but it's very open.
Yeah.
It's very.
Yeah.
There's
That's-
no good man
that's another
marking.
illusion.
It's very poor in
Yeah.
defense. I
So-
gotta say.
you'll see if you look at again, not like Mike said, not to bash the league, but when you project, because when you scout, and this is what they're all good at, these sporting directors and these head scouts, you go watch a game. If a player scores 4 goals, 5 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals in the Eredivisie, in the first division in Holland, it doesn't automatically mean that's going to translate
Exactly.
to Serie A. So that's why
Exactly.
you see, like, right now, Belgium has the upper hand, for example, because it's a more physical league, and it gives you kind of, I guess, an initial look into how the player is going to fare physically in Serie A.
And I just wanted to add real quickly that there was another Greek that won the Golden Boot last season for Utrecht in the Dutch league also, and now he's playing at Celta Vigo. He's not even a starter.
No, it's not even a star. So it's just an
And the
open-
opposite could be
another
true
example.
too. Like Lookman. Lookman's never had a season like he's ever had now. And then what he just dropped in the final was
But he
one
went
of the best.
through,
yeah.
like Lookman
Yeah.
went through
Leicester,
He went through Leicester, went to
Everton.
Fulham, and all that is on loan from Leipzig, which Leipzig obviously shows you, like they have the players that kind of check those boxes: physical, athletic, technical. So you're like, okay, this player can translate to Serie A.
So you're Saudi. Did you go Saudi or Italiano?
No, I'm not sorry or that. I like
For
them both.
Bologna.
Both.
you gotta choose
If
one.
I have to
Gun
choose,
to your- gun to your-
and if I have to like predict,
Makes sense, Mike.
Gotta get used to the.
if I have to
we need
predict,
answers here. We need answers.
if I'll predict between the two, I think they're gonna go with Italiano because he's just younger and
doesn't smoke.
More feasible.
yeah, he's just more flexible. I think they'll go with Italiano.
That's fair.
And I'll take you on my side. I'll take Sarri just because he has the experience in a European competition that Bologna will need to to do well
True.
in Champions League. He has the style of play that is more lateral, I think, compared to, well, not lateral, I'm sorry, side to side, more like Thiago Motta, where it takes more passes to then get up. So you have this difference in styles compared to Italiano, and I think Italiano also might get a little, I don't know, I feel like Italiano should get interest in a higher club.
Like
Higher
what?
club.
Higher than Champions League?
But the thing is with
Yeah, we
Bologna,
can't
it's,
say Champions
it's
League
not
right
a.
now.
it's
Okay, so
not a
who else is there?
consistent.
He's
I mean,
like
look,
Milan has their
okay,
coach.
like a consistent.
Yeah.
No, are you saying just in
Juventus
Italy?
has their coach. Inter has their coach.
You meant just in Italy or in general?
Roma has their
I
coach.
mean, look, the only
General.
the only
Okay, that's what I
way.
was thinking in general too.
I mean, the top 5. These are the only jobs available.
Yeah.
Because
That's what I'm
then
saying.
the only way
Just be in
is
Italy.
if Gasperini leaves Atalanta, which
They said today that
No,
he,
yeah,
he
he's
already
gonna
yeah he
stay.
at
expressed
the
his
time of
conditions,
recording, they're
yeah.
saying that he's going to stay
Yeah.
because they're going to keep all the big
Yeah.
players, and he wants 2 to 3 guys.
Unless a
What
new woman
about
passes
is
by.
Conte
Yeah.
still Napoli or is that dwindled? Because Italiano and Napoli, I would see.
I could see it happening. They should have done it last year.
I like
That was the
Italiano
move.
and Napoli.
We said it last year that
4-3-3
So
he would have been the
style
guy.
play, yeah.
But if I put myself in the shoes of Vincenzo Italiano, not that I know the guy or at all, but I've watched so many of his interviews and I've read it just for the past couple of years also because he's Sicilian and I kind of loved his story. And he always talks about that he never expected to get to this level. He said many people from my town, from where I'm from,
Ribera.
never can make it here. So the fact that he's there, it's a sense of pride. So I just imagine if I'm in his shoes and you have a team that is going to put you in the Champions League next year, he has
Who
to
would
be
you
like,
choose, like between Napoli and Bologna?
let me
I
take
would-
it. Let me take it with both hands.
'Cause Bologna-
Let me try. And you have a capable sporting director with Sartori that you're like, all right, maybe we could build something.
Napoli is tough right now because it's literally just square one. Really, next year they're gonna start from square one
Year
again.
zero
and
with
rebuild
Manna.
this. Yeah, year 0. Manna's coming in.
Is he anything
That's
good?
another one.
So Giovanni
I know him and
Manna-
Giuntoli didn't get
Yeah,
on.
yeah. So Giovanni Manna, he started with the youth. So he was like a scout for low level team, and then he went to Switzerland. So he was a team manager for Lugano, first division.
Beautiful
Right
area.
across from Como,
Beautiful.
right there, across
Yeah.
the lake.
And he was a team manager, and then he made his way up to head scout, and then he became sporting director of Lugano. Stayed there for a few years. Those were good years for Lugano. They still are good. And then Juventus brought him in as an academy manager.
Was it for next gen?
For just the Primavera Academy. And then a year after, they promoted him to be, Claudio wasn't there yet, Chiellini, but he was sort of like the manager there for the next gen.
Was Zeman there or was that Lucerna? I don't remember. At Lugano.
No, maybe Lucerna. Lugano had switched ownership with the owner of Chicago Fire bought them last year. So
Oh, yeah, I heard about this. I recently just heard about this.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which
Uh,
is that really fucking
And I just want to add. That's terrible.
Why you say it on mic?
Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out.
we're just going to start it with that. It's the
And
only
I
thing
wanted to
we'll
ask you guys, do you think, because I do believe this, I feel like some people don't always agree that the coach's stock falls. You know, sometimes you're not the same coach that you were, and maybe it's outdated. I think an example would be Mourinho, regardless if
Yeah.
people agree with me or not. Do you think Sarri's stock fell with Lazio, or do you think maybe it was just a hiccup and things didn't add up?
He finished
and the
second
players
place with that
didn't-
team, bro.
I get it,
Yeah,
I
I
get
know.
it. But I'm just saying overall.
It was more Lotito. I think more people, if you just look at the picture 360 degrees, you look at Lotito and you're like,
No,
all right, this guy was
yeah.
crazy. Like the fact that Sadi dealt with them was
it's
something.
a very volatile job.
Yeah.
Like you could go up, just like
Yeah,
players,
for
up
sure.
and down very
A
quickly.
couple of bad results.
I
could
think it was
change.
just a hiccup for Sarri
Look at
because
Gasperini.
yeah.
He got sacked at Inter after 4
Yeah.
games. They were actually, when I was watching this Atalanta documentary, after the first 5 games, I believe he had 3 points for Atalanta, and they were talking about firing him.
Yeah.
Listen, timing is everything.
Timing is
and then also, unfortunately, when you deal with football, when you're a top team, there's no other expectation but to win, and winning convincingly is important, but you have to win. That's how you maintain your job.
Yeah, results.
If you don't, have the results, then you don't maintain.
That's
your
why
job.
Allegri was there for so long.
And especially when we're talking about all these up and coming coaches and all these different styles and ways of playing, it takes time.
Yeah.
It's very rare that a coach comes in
And
and all of a
immediately makes an
sudden
impact.
it's like the car, a manual car. You can't go into 5 gear, right?
We're in
You gotta
2024, Paisa.
Okay, but I think that's a good way that people will still be able to understand that you can't just. All right, let's just put it this way: you can't jump and start running. You have to
You
get
gotta
yourself
crawl first,
into it
walk. Yeah,
to
yeah.
be
You
able
got to
to-
walk before you start running. But so the camera's just showing us. Is it just making sure that
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Don't
recording
worry,
them
it gets
too?
cut afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, good call though.
What was the question?
I wanna know-
the Saudi stock fall.
No,
No,
it's
there's
just
no
a hiccup
way.
because everyone knows how Lotito is, and he just didn't have a lot to work with.
I actually think, if anything, Saudi stock rose from his time at Lazio. The fact that he got that team to finish second, I know because Juventus also lost points.
making weird
No, I think it is. Yo, he dealt
I think
he
it's
dealt
the
with a
same.
crazy situation. He dealt with a crazy situation there. There was one point Lotito told him he asked for a player.
Yeah.
He asked for Sanabria. He asked for a striker, Sanabria.
From Torino?
And Lotito told him, "You do not tell me the player to get." And Lotito said this. This is not newspaper stuff. Lotito said, "Sadi doesn't tell me what player he wants. He tells me the characteristics, and I go to him with the name that he's going to
Gotta
get."
get that cheaper
How
option,
the hell
baby.
does a coach deal with that and still maintain competitive a team?
And also lose the best player, Milankovic Savic.
Yeah,
Come
they had to sell
on.
Milankovic.
For me, they rose. For me, if anything, it rose. I actually got a lot of respect for Sadi, the way that he handled the situation.
Lotito reminds me a lot like De Laurentiis with having maybe stepping a foot a little too much into maybe where he's
Very
not supposed
involved.
to. A
Very
little
involved.
too
Very involved, except when he's in those meetings.
Oh yeah.
Did you see him falling asleep at was
I
it the
brought it
council
up. I
meeting?
brought it up before. Yeah.
Did you?
And
It's so
and
funny.
they and they just
That's
woke him
the
up and he went
greatest
back
thing
to
ever.
It's a
sleep.
regular thing though.
Is that not?
It's a regular thing. I've seen
Yeah.
it like 3-4 different
Yeah,
times.
he's always sleeping.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I
if
know.
we had him on one of these comfortable
But-
couches,
Oh,
yeah,
he'd be
forget
out
it.
for the.
But I
We'll
wonder-
be throwing
I'm
popcorn in
surprised
his
you're not
mouth.
asleep.
We'll be throwing
wonder-
popcorn in his
I
mouth.
wonder if it is because he's
That's
so.
crazy.
I wonder if it's because he's so engaged and like never sleeps.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
a good
Yeah,
one.
that
I
you
don't
just
think
gave
so.
him his perfect excuse.
That's what I would say.
That's a good one.
I had
That's a
slept
politician
2 hours
answer.
last night. You know.
Yeah, I was scouting Tati Castellanos.
I don't
That's
think
why.
it's that.
So
Do you guys know who the new sporting director of Roma? I haven't been able to dive deep into him yet. Do you guys know anything about him?
yeah, he's from France, right?
Yeah.
Never had the opportunity
No.
to speak to him,
Yeah,
but
I
he's
did.
young.
Italian passport.
They had like
39 years old, I
yeah,
believe he
they
is.
had some good seasons out there. So again, Serie A is internationalizing. They're trying to.
But why, if Saudi says that we have the best coaches and the best directors?
They're
Should you go with somebody that knows the league? Or
I mean, that's what I would do. But they're trying to just have a more of a 360-degree approach where you're not just stuck in your ways. They work or not. Again, depends on the club, depends on how you operate. But trying to maybe have more of an international database and way of operating.
I think that's good, but I think it also is valuable if you promote, like we're talking about so many different coaches and sporting directors. If you also just promoted somebody that already understands the culture, that understands the language, like there's somebody else like Tudor, for example. He's a foreign coach, but he's kind of like an adopted Italian, basically, for the way they know Serie A. I mean more Serie A experience than I do anything like that.
Again, that's what I would do. But if you look at it, these international professionals are being brought in mostly by foreign ownerships. So the Italian ownerships, you're usually going to go with the Italian that has experience within the league or is up and coming. And the foreign ownership is just going to, again, they could choose an Italian or they have no problem going with the foreign operator in that position.
Yeah, and also with Roma's case, it's different in a sense because usually it's the sporting director that gets chosen, and then he picks his technical
Everything.
staff.
Exactly. They
And
got
at
a
this
line.
point, obviously with De Rossi, what he's been able to do, he's going to be there. So, it's also what aligns when you pick up a person, right? A sporting director, it's what aligns with your group and with your objectives and the people that you work with. So, I think the same way that you have international players that come into Italy, an international director, yes, might not know the culture, right? But in the end, as long as he, understands how to look at talent, how to project talent, and build out a solid roster, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
And Roma is an international club. It's a global brand.
Yeah.
So it's right there, I'm sure anybody in the world would be interested in taking that job.
I'm just saying, I feel like sometimes you just get like these random
Yeah.
choices. I remember Genoa when they got Blessing, for example. And I know I kind of harp on this a lot, but like that was just the most random
did that last?
thing I ever heard in my life. Like you want this hipster manager that's like, I think he came from the Red Bull system, if I'm not mistaken,
He
with
was
the
at
press.
he was at Ostende.
Ostende.
Yo, you just
Wasn't
gotta
doing
get a
great.
coach that's
Wasn't
been
doing
in the
great.
mud, that's gotten you saved from relegation a million times in Serie A, then, Davide Nicola-esque type
Yeah, so
manager.
it's when we call, quote unquote, people get cute with how they with
That's
how
what you
they,
call it?
yeah, get cute. They with a way of kind of trying to change things around, but experience is so important in this league. It's not a coincidence. Like this year's Serie A, next year's Serie A is gonna have 5, maybe 6 clubs in Champions League, maybe 9 in all European competitions.
Crazy.
If
It's
we
just
could
a
beat the Greeks.
very competitive league, and I think it's a demonstration that you have to rely on experience, and you just can't get a run-of-the-mill coach that maybe had a good year in some other league and expect that coach to kind of have immediate success within the league, regardless of what team they end up.
Has that happened before?
Working
I'm
for-
trying to think. Have they brought someone from a different league try to save their season? I'm trying to think. It's not very
From
common.
another league, it's not very common.
That's what I'm trying
No.
Anyone-
Blessing
They
No,
never
it's a
coached
lot.
in Serie A ever.
Blessing got relegated, right?
Yeah,
or,
yeah, yeah.
or very few.
And he was from Ostende. Ostende wasn't even doing that well.
They
in
played
Belgium.
like a good 20 minutes, I remember, and everybody got excited because they pressed their opponent,
yeah.
and then freaking Davide Nicola came in
It's
there.
just
He got
different.
his team
Yeah.
saved, and
I don't think it's happened with the foreign coach coming in. I mean, Davide Nicola is obviously the king of people
Yeah,
coming in, and let's see what happens with Empoli.
Yeah, to save.
They're probably not gonna.
Actually, speaking of Empoli, Pietro Accardi is a good up and coming sporting
Yeah.
director from Palermo. So yeah,
why don't we talk about the coaching carousel real quick before we go? Because I mean, we mentioned a lot of coaches, but there's some that we didn't. Let's go around. We'll go around. I'm gonna say a name, and you put him on a team that you'd love him
Pin the
to
tail of
coach
a
on.
Serie A coach.
Yeah, there we go. I like that, Mike. You're gonna start
Go ahead.
because Peter needs time to
Wait.
think.
Well,
I'm gonna say the name.
okay. Go.
Roberto De Zerbi. You could say no team in Serie A, but he's a hot name. A lot of people are always asking us.
I like that Zerbi. I think Milan have been starved for good football for a long time, and I feel like their fans deserve better. Winning that Scudetto, you could say, was kind of a fluke or whatever the case is. I'm sure they'll have some funds to spend, and I think that Zerbi it's time for him to take a big step to a big team, to a Champions League team, and I think that would fit him accordingly with beautiful football, of course.
that Zerbi. I would say Milan, but Milan has a lot of defensive woes. Like, and
He's not giving you the
sorry.
call.
I didn't even see him.
Neither do I.
So if they bring in that
Try not
Zerbi,
to.
which again at this point we know that he's not going to Milan, but if they would bring him in with like let's say a defensive tactician, then I would agree, because defensively he's just
defense
Yeah, that's my
horrible.
biggest fear.
Horrible.
so that Zerbi I would say right now I don't think
You can
the-
go any club. Where's the Zerbi gonna?
Any
'cause
club in
he's
the
got,
world?
He's got no
Any
Barca
club in
now.
Serie A, or
But he
Bayern
left
Munich for
Brighton.
some reason is
Denver.
getting Vincent Company.
Yeah.
I didn't understand
What's
that.
up with
one.
that?
So Brighton
They're gonna lose this.
was his
league, yeah.
level right now. I think Brighton was
No,
in
I
perfect
think he
level.
could go up.
He did
For
well,
how
he did
he's doing defensively, I think he still needed to stay there for another year and then maybe move on. But right now, I would say in Serie A, with the coaches available and with how they just are, fixated on defending,
Nobody.
no team.
You? Or do you still need time?
No, I mean,
we
obviously,
should've messaged him yesterday.
Milan is a.
It makes
is
sense,
a
Milan.
Great reality for
he was
him.
a Milan
because he's
Primavera
also
player.
I love Milan for him.
He's a Milan fan from there, so like that would make sense. And he's up and coming for brings a little excitement for the Milan fans. If he were not to go to Milan, anywhere else I think will be going downwards.
I thought Barca were going to take the risk on him. I thought they were going to.
No.
Also,
They
no horse
can't.
in the race for me, so I didn't care if it
Yeah.
worked out or if it didn't. It was all up from there. All right, let's go.
Wait, are you going?
Yeah, I said Milan.
Oh.
Yeah. that was my
Copy
idea.
Mike, it's easy.
Antonio Conte. I said it last week. Antonio Conte. I'll start. Simple. Napoli. I want to see him go to Napoli. I just imagine a season of Antonio Conte could have been for Milan as well, but I don't think that they want him. to see him go to Napoli and try to make them competitive again, I think it would be amazing. It's going to end in a fight with De Laurentiis, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Mike?
I say no, coach. I think Napoli, there's going to be way too much friction. They're both very egotistical, very in your face, very southern, and I just feel like
Southern.
yeah, it is because their emotions are times 100, and especially after a crazy match, De Laurentiis gonna be screaming, Conte's gonna be screaming, and I just
where
think
would
it's
you
gonna
put
be
him, man?
toxic.
I brought up Conte.
No club.
No
man.
club.
Non-Serie A.
But he's such a winner.
Yeah.
I know he's a
By your
winner.
definition, he's won everywhere he's gone.
Oh, he's definitely.
He-
but I just feel like there's gonna be too much
Yeah.
craziness
I
over there.
agree with Mike. With Napoli, it would. I think it would be too much heat in that.
Toxicity.
Yeah, not toxicity. I would say heat because they just get heated up very quickly. He was perfect for Milan for what Milan wanted to do. It's not happening.
Yes.
And so in Italy, with all other clubs now finding a coach little by little, I think he was perfect for Bayern Munich. But Bayern Munich decided on company for some reason.
I'm still wondering.
Milan, it would have made them immediate challengers for the Scudetto. That's what would have been great. 'Cause
Anyone that takes Conte would be a challenger. I believe.
defensively, he would have solidified you. You keep some of the guys. I mean, it would have been exciting. I thought that
But
was
Europe-
lined up for him.
but
I thought it was
Europe-
lined up
but how
because he
about
did
Europe?
Juventus, he did Inter, and it just feels like Napoli's the best case scenario. And I want Napoli to get. I want Napoli to get a winner. Everybody always talks about Napoli. Oh, they're not
Hey,
winners. This
Ancelotti.
and that. Blah blah blah. Yeah, but Conte could do a lot more with
Very quickly.
with less.
Very quickly.
He's got the immediate spark. It's gonna last 2-3 years
And burn
max.
and burn a
Burns
bridge
them
on
out.
This
a
guy,
couple
this guy
seasons.
went to
There
Euro
we go.
2016 with Giaccherini, with
No, I
Eder, so he
get
could
it.
do a lot
Yeah,
with
he
little.
squeezes a lot.
It would just be fun because I'm adding another team to the mix.
But squeezing that much out of your players in the club, is it good for the future?
No,
Short
but
term,
I'm
yes.
talking.
it's not.
But I'm
Long
talking.
term,
It's just to relaunch them.
I said it immediate. You know exactly how it's gonna end. But guess what? I don't care. I just want.
But
I'm saying for next season it would
But
be
even,
fun.
Even I would love to see Conte at Napoli. I agree with
So this is
Marco.
a smart part of
Yeah, I would
the
agree
business
with
partners, and then we got
Marco.
that side.
Because aside from the heat and everything else, Conte brings immediate success to a team. So it will be a track record, I guess, that Napoli would like to have, because the issues of Europe, they're not going to be in Europe next year.
Oh, he'd definitely win on first
so
year.
he'll be able
He'd
to
win the Scudetto in his first
That
year.
would be
And-
amazing.
And that Napoli team, especially De Laurentiis, he's
He's going to spend.
Spalletti.
he's
But look
smart.
what happened to Spalletti.
No, but what I'm getting at is
It's a disaster the season after.
but with De Laurentiis, he knows that he needs to have a good year next year, and if he wants to sell any of his players, we still have to figure out if Osimhen leaves and what happens, because that could also eventually create a new player carousel. But Napoli, the players that they have, it's a team that won and is built to win now. It's not built to win in 5 years.
Yeah.
So Conte gets there, wins, fights with De Laurentiis, and goes on
Leaves.
to the next one.
I would say, I would add, if Conte were to go to Napoli, no European competitions, they probably win the Scudetto in
win
the
the-
first
yeah.
That would be so. Can you imagine the Inter that's being built? Juventus, Thiago Motta might take some time. We got to see who they're able to get. Milan, and then you throw Napoli into the mix of.
I think
We'll
we'll
have
be.
3 teams fighting for the Scudetto, at least 3-4 teams.
I don't think Milan will be.
You don't think so?
No.
Will Napoli pay for large salary?
I think it's
also?
going to be Inter, Juventus,
another
and
good
again,
question.
depending on who Napoli gets, it would be them 3, and plus, Atalanta. Why not? If Atalanta, do
Atalanta,
get
yeah, I agree.
players, if they keep their players and get another 3 good players, why not? why
Nothing is
not
crazy
Atalanta?
at this point. Nothing is. Anybody else?
Coaches?
Yeah.
Well, we know Thiago Motta is going to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's-
that's set. Italiano, we
Yeah,
kinda
we
said
did him.
Bologna.
Sarri, we spoke.
How-
Sarri.
a Paladino.
Paladino.
They're saying Fiorentina now. That's
You
the
think
latest
that-
rumor.
I
I like
think
it. I like
it's
Palladino
good-
a lot.
It's a good a next step for him for sure.
I would do another on Serie B clubs because they're both foreign ownerships.
Who?
Como and Parma.
Como. Yeah. I don't know that much about them.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
that
I
much.
would
Como's
do
not
some.
American,
They're
but
Indonesian.
No, they're
right?
Indonesian,
Indonesian.
but they're both foreign.
They're
So
both
Parma's
the
coming
richest-
up.
the
They're
richest
American.
owners.
So I would do like, what do you think about Parma? What do you think about Como coming up? Because even if Palermo comes up, it's fucking City Group.
I can't wait to Kraus to go in Serie A. I want to hear his interviews again. Oh man.
Well, which interviews?
I don't.
He wants to speak
He's your height,
Italian.
Yeah.
by the way. I know this is going on.
He's what?
He's
You
your
know where I
height.
met him? You know where I met
What does
Kraus
that
in the
have to
bathroom?
Just
Wait,
saying.
yo. There's so many things happening.
I met Kraus in the bathroom in Florence.
Did you really?
I went into the bathroom. He was next to me in
Grabbed
line.
his dick.
You guys.
He was like this. Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Where
son?"
is it?
Do you guys remember when he took out the Juventus sticker from his laptop and put the Parma sticker when he signed? And I was like, whoa.
I don't even remember
think
this.
you do that. You don't remember that?
No.
And then Parma Calcio
He's,
Association.
that's how
Oh,
he
that's
talks.
what
He's
you're
like
talking about?
one of those Grazies. Grazie,
Ah,
grazie.
okay.
Wait, where's he based out of?
Iowa.
Iowa.
I think I just got rid of this from my memory. I think it was hard to hear.
Let's watch a video.
No. All right. What about Como and Parma? What can we expect? Do you guys follow the lower leagues a little bit more? Who wants to start? Well, this guy doesn't want to start. He needs a
I'll
day to
start.
prep.
No, Parma. You know, the players that they've went after 3 years ago have now come to a successful point because they spent a lot of money when they were in Serie A and it just didn't pan out. And they thought they were going to be able to make it back, you know, in the following year, but it took some time. But ultimately, I think there's based on, you know, the sporting direction. They know what type of player they want. They have a great scouting group behind them where they're able to identify the type of player and implement it in the style. Fabio Pecchia, you know, chose Parma. He brought Cremonese up to Serie A, and instead of staying in Serie A, say, hey, I'm going to be going back down to Serie B soon. Let me go with a project
smelt
that
it.
is going to be able to go up and stay up. So that's obviously a coach that has experience bringing the team up, and you know, in Serie A, he's still to be proven, but he has a certain style, and I think with a Parma team, they will be able to do it. There's a very interesting player, Benabe, who
Santiago.
you know can definitely bring thrill to Serie A, and his value can increase incredibly. And it's a team that they're willing to spend money. You know, the group is there. You know, there's no, you know, we spoke with one of the directors there, and it was a matter of, listen, if we like the player, then we're not going to have the money be an issue, which is nice to say. Obviously, when you're talking about 30, 40, $50 million player, maybe it's not the case. But for a player that they're interested in, they'll make it known that they can go
chow
out
now.
and get it after.
That's a guy I want to see stay in Serie
You
A.
know. And
I like him a lot.
And Parma is a beautiful city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quiet, it's calm, and it's very close to Milano. So
It's quaint.
even as a city, it's great. The history. I mean, the players
Yeah.
that have played
With
there.
the region and
Buffon,
development. Yeah.
Thuram, Crespo,
There's a lot of history.
Chiesa, Cannavaro. Like,
And they were the last team to win
It's
Coppa UEFA before it became Europa League.
Atalanta.
Yeah, 25 years.
99
before it
with
became cool.
Malesani.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why don't you take us through Como then, since he took Parma?
So Como is another very interesting reality. Obviously, another beautiful city. I think the richest ownership in Italy as of right now. A lot of investments, a lot of capable people, a lot of important investors in the team. Thierry Henry is invested in the club. Fabregas is an investor in the club, and obviously he's also an assistant coach.
No, he's the head coach. He doesn't
Well,
have
head
his
coach,
license.
but he doesn't have his license, so he's currently operating as an assistant coach, but he's the head coach.
Damn. So who was right there?
Um,
Which business partner was right?
he's technically the assistant coach on paper.
On paper,
On
yeah.
But he's the
Trying
head
to tear
coach.
you guys
He's
apart.
the coach.
Uh,
He's the coach for the future for next year.
They have a few very capable operators within the front office. They have Carlo Bertoludi, and they have
They
Ian
just added Ian Torrance.
Torrance
from
from
Southampton.
from Southampton. So they know what they're doing. So
Change
they
of
have
scenery.
they have
You said the most Italian name. I thought you said Tyler Adams.
so they have the economic
Tyler
power.
Adams.
They have the economic backing. They have a beautiful city. The team is already it's decent. So if they make a couple of good investments in some areas of the field, you know, some rumors are coming out that they're interested in Icardi and
Yeah, I saw that.
and Correa. They're already kind of
Correa's
put
the
to
Inter
bed.
fans trying to sell him.
put to bed. But they're
Take a
they're more than capable to make a statement, especially with the people behind them
Yeah.
and the people you know, working for them.
I love what Fabregas said after they got promoted, which is, you know, it's a moment of joy. You know, he said, oh, we're going to Ibiza, all that stuff. But then he also said, I don't remember the terminology used, but it was something like this was like training. He's like, next season, the real work begins.
You know what's interesting about that is that when Fabregas went to Como, obviously between Serie A and Serie B, there's a level of difference, but there's also a level of difference when it comes to the style of play that you need in order to succeed.
Yeah.
So Fabregas is a very technical player. He knows how to play good football.
Uh-huh.
But when he went to Como, he
Gotta adjust.
implemented a different system in order to knowing how Serie B was working, how you need to play.
Yeah.
He changed it just to get through Serie B, and then probably not going up to Serie A. He can
So
readjust it, but you need to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And you also
some-
can't play the same amount of style. The biggest thing is when you go to Serie A is you try to stay in Serie A.
Yeah.
So a lot of coaches they change their style in terms of maybe play defense a little bit first before the attack.
It feels like the team's coming up. It doesn't feel like last year where when you immediately saw the quality. Besides Frosinone, I thought Frosinone, they tried to play a style of football that was, above what
Exactly.
they probably had at their disposal. But it feels like teams that can build a long-term project, and we're not going to see do a yo-yo where they come up and immediately go down.
No,
Well,
there's
these are
definitely
teams
investment in
that
these two.
financially are able to go after players because they're going to have to. Obviously, Icardi, Correa, these guys are names. But I mean, I would like to see Icardi at Como, and I'm sure.
Wanda
it's
wants it.
40 minutes from Milano. It's
not
not.
far.
It's not a
They're
hard
not-
sell.
it's not a hard
It's
sell.
not a hard sell to
They
players
they
and their
wanna-
families to come.
That's true.
They
to
bought
Como.
Strefezza from Lecce. He was
Yeah.
playing. He was
Yeah,
playing in
yeah,
Serie A,
yeah, yeah.
and they just bought him and he went to Serie B for them. So
Coutron is gonna
they bought Cutrone.
get
They bought him back.
revitalized over
So
there in Serie A,
it's
baby.
not a hard
They
sell.
have Curto, my friend.
Yeah,
There's not.
Marco
we might be
Curto.
related, but
Like me and Sartori.
yeah. No, but he's actually. There's a funny story. So
separated at birth.
Marco Curto,
The more
his-
athletic one.
His mom's side is actually from Pozzuoli, which is near my mom's town
Pozzuoli.
in Naples.
Pozzuoli.
Yeah, that's the town of Sofia Loren, by the way.
Shout out.
Sophia
You know
Loren.
you're a small town when you have all
It's
these
not a small
little
town, It's a
things.
historic town.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
Story.
Retegui is from
It's like
Cagliari.
Retegui,
There's
yeah.
a Roman amphitheater.
He tried to
in
convince us
Pozzuoli.
he's related to Retegui.
So Retegui comes from Canicattì.
Yeah, here we go.
Canicattì.
He still
Here we
DMs
go.
him.
But so funny enough, he grew up or played with some friends in Naples, but his father's originally from Canicattì.
Oh, so he's both.
Yeah,
So
so it's
both
actually
sides.
Ah, here we go.
it's
Definitely
it's-
related.
Here we go.
The
That's
reason
my
why-
uncle.
There's only no because there's two Curto in the branches, whatever, Irami.
Or Curti.
Or
Plural,
Curti
right?
is different, but we all stem
Antonio
from,
De Curti.
we all stem from Curti and De Curtis, which are the
Oh my God.
That's Greek.
nobility. But the Curto, there's only two, one in Calabria and one in Sicily. So if you come from Sicily, you come from Canicattì.
There we go.
That's crazy. No, it could be. Yeah, of
Hey, we're
course.
gonna take 23 and me. Right
Guys, good episode. Mario, thanks for joining us. Peter,
Thank you,
nice to
guys.
have you back. I hope
Pleasure.
everybody at home enjoyed. All right, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao, guys.